We open our show on this Wednesday evening with breaking news of historical political proportions. Montana Senior Senator Steve Daines has withdrawn his name as a candidate for U.S. Senate. Thanks for joining us tonight at 6:30. I'm Ben Wineman. Folks, there are so many questions tonight. There are so many unanswered questions this evening. We're going to lead things off with our Bradley Warren, who's been breaking the news for us earlier today, joining us from the Pulse Studios tonight. Bradley, good evening to you. You see right there, Bradley's on the phone right now. Bradley, this news impacting not just Montana, but the nation's capital. So much to dive into tonight.
I'm going to start with, I just got a statement texted to me from Seth Bogner. He says, quote, Steve Daines has little respect for Montana Republicans, that he withdrew at the last minute to coordinate his handpicked successor instead of giving them a voice at the ballot box. This is disgusting ignorance of Washington politicians and their party bosses who trade power back and forth like candy, while Montanans are crushed under higher costs and have fewer opportunities. I'm running as an independent voice for every single Montanan who is sick of this broken political system and who wants a leader who stands up for our state against corruptions like political elites like Steve Daines and Kurt Almy. All right, so a lot going on right there. That statement just coming to me. We've got a poll right here that I want to walk you through. If we can pull that up here, you know what? I have Governor Brian Schweitzer calling me. I'm going to answer this. Governor, you're on the phone right now over the air across the state of Montana. Can you react real quickly to me to what you just have learned?
Every Republican in Montana is looking in the mirror and saying, we didn't choose royalty. Who does Daines and Zinke think they are by choosing their own successor during the last minute? There's Republicans all over Montana that said, we have primaries. It's up to the people of Montana to choose who's going to be a congressman, who's going to be a senator. And these two princes who thought that they could choose their replacement, that's not going to go over very well among Republicans and Democrats and independents.
So, Governor,
we don't have any royalty in Montana, and we don't want royalty.
Governor, I'm getting the sense that you're frustrated. You're a Democrat, but you're saying Republicans should also be frustrated as well.
I already know they are. I'm getting phone calls from Republicans.
All right, Governor, I'm going to let you take those phone calls, and I'm going to continue on with my report. But thank you for calling in, Governor. I'll give you a call back.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, that was former Governor Brian Schweitzer. Let's go through the poll here real quickly. We've got some polling data that was done just a few days ago, quite honestly, that showed Senator Daines had a commanding lead, 51% over Seth Bogner, potentially running. This was a potential right now, right? Potentially running as an independent. Well, he's now in the race as an independent, holding 42% when this poll was conducted. Goodness, it was released a few days ago. It was done probably a week ago. This doesn't matter anymore, this data that I'm showing you. But what it says is the senator had a commanding lead and waited ultimately to make this decision. I know that President Donald Trump is weighing in right now. Do we have that in the back? Do we have the president's? All right. So President Trump says Senator Daines of Montana is one of the truly great United States senators. He honorably served for 12 years in the Senate, 2 in the House of Representatives. He did a great job like few others are capable of doing. Sadly for our country, Steve's term is up and he's decided to leave the Senate and pass the torch. Okay, so the president looks like he is now endorsing Kurt Almy, the district attorney who he appointed to serve as the district attorney for the state of Montana. He says Almy has his complete and total endorsement. Governor Greg Gianforte and Senator Tim Sheehy have also endorsed Kurt as well. Highly respected criminal prosecutor in my administration with a Harvard Law degree. There you go. The president has already jumped into this race, endorsing right now. Almy, as you have heard former Governor Schweitzer is saying, he's frustrated, and so are Republicans in the state. It sounds like Senator Daines has posted a video online announcing his retirement. Let's listen to it.
Serving the people of Montana in the U.S. House and the U.S. Senate the past 13 years has been the greatest honor of my professional career. I'm grateful to God for allowing me to serve. But after much careful thought, I've decided not to seek re-election. Prior to public service, I spent 28 years in the private sector. And while I found those years very rewarding, they didn't compare to the fulfillment I found in public service. I'm energized, I'm encouraged, and I'm ready for whatever comes next. I'm also very thankful to have served alongside President Trump and my colleagues in the Senate. Together, we built a conservative majority on the Supreme Court. We spearheaded Republican control of the U.S. Senate. We delivered the largest tax cut in U.S. history. We unleashed American energy dominance and secured our southern border. We also enacted the bipartisan Great American Outdoors Act, the most significant conservation achievement in half a century. And we forged stronger ties with critical allies around the world. I'm especially indebted to my exceptional staff, who have worked tirelessly each day to serve Montanans. Thank you for creating countless raving fans through your efforts. And finally, I'm most grateful to my sweet wife, Cindy, of 39 years. For the past 13 years, Cindy has selflessly dropped me off at the airport at 5 a.m. on most Mondays for that commute back to D.C. And together, Cindy and I look forward to the next chapter, like cherishing moments with 7 grandchildren, spending a bit more time in Montana, and continuing to make a difference.
All right, you just heard from Montana's senior senator announcing he's officially retiring. Governor Greg Gianforte has just put out a statement as well. He says, I've known Steve Daines for nearly 30 years. From growing a successful business together to serving Montanans together, I'm proud to call Steve a true friend and partner. Montana is stronger today because of Steve's work to cut taxes, champion our agriculture industry, and strengthen our national defense. He has made a big impact, and his leadership and service to our state will be missed. And I mean, that's the important notion, right? He's the senior senator. And for those of you who don't understand how the Senate works, when you have a position like that, you're the senior, you're the most important one, right? You have the power to bring more money, more resources, more opportunity to the state. He had not only seniority within the delegation, but seniority within the party. So he was able to bring opportunity as he saw fit to the state of Montana. That is power, right? That is power that is now going away by way of his retirement and an open seat. We've got a contested open seat right now between somebody who's running as an independent, that is Seth Bogner. We've got somebody who's running as a Democrat, Ben Riley Nail, and then somebody who's now running officially as a Republican, filing 3 minutes before the deadline. That's Kurt Alma. It's been a day, Ben.
And Bradley, that I think that's a point that we want to hit on tonight. And you heard that in that statement from Seth Bodner. You heard it from former Governor Brian Schweitzer there in their phone call. Incredible moment there. They're crying foul tonight on this timeline of when these decisions were actually made.
Well, I mean, why wouldn't they?
Totally.
I mean, I'm not going to give my opinion. That's not my job. I'll let you make the decision at home for what you think happened. But I mean, at the end of the day, I don't even think it's Democrats that are that upset. I mean, you heard the governor say that. I'll be transparent. I've got phone calls out to Republicans who I imagine would have wanted to run for Senate who can't. I bet they're unhappy too.
Yeah, this is not just a Democrats and independents, man. There are probably some Republicans across the state would have loved to have hopped in and been potentially succeed Steve Daines.
Sorry, I'm sure you can imagine, Ben.
You're good.
A lot coming in. I think there is so much that took place on the back end that we don't know about for sure. I won't.
Can I ask you?
You can make your own decision at home.
Can I just ask you one more question, then we'll let you get back to your reporting.
Ben, you can ask me 100 questions.
You've covered the senator your entire journalist career. You've got a great relationship with him personally and professionally. If you could sum up in words what he has done and what he has meant to this state, because this is a legacy. This is a Titan retiring.
I think that's right. He is a Titan. There's no getting around that, whether you like him or not, right? Like, Democrats have, an opinion.
Sure.
Republicans adore the senator. And I understand why Democrats have that opinion. Senator Steve Daines, say what you want about him, is an incredibly smart man. And he knew what he was doing when he started that run for office many years ago. He started, of course, believed in the very beginning, lieutenant governor, got his name ID, moved into the House, then moved in the Senate. But he didn't think what was in front of him. He thought down the road. His goal was always that majority. And for a Montana that when he entered statewide office, I believe he was the only Republican to be leaving with the state shifting from blue to purple to red, that would be what he would want his legacy to be. He took the state from a state Democrats, for the most part, paid attention to but weren't super nervous about losing, to a state that was firmly in the pocket for him and his party.
How's this week been in Montana political news?
I'm tired, Ben.
It's only Wednesday.
You know? Wait, I thought it was Thursday.
Nah.
Ben, it started, of course, on Monday. We had a breather on Tuesday, and today we're on fire. I imagine tomorrow we're going to be having some conversations from people who announced that they were running for the House of Representatives that might have something to say. You know, and again, on that notion, the president getting involved already in that race, the last time we saw the president get involved in a race like that and give support to a candidate in a primary, that was Senator Tim Sheehy's race. He was then candidate against Matt Rosendale. That was it for Matt Rosendale. A lot has happened, a lot to still be determined over the course of the next 3 days.
And just going back to your reporting yesterday, we talked, the two things that you brought up in your report, your great report yesterday was, now this means even more money, and we are definitely going to get the president, we're going to get the vice president, we're going to get some heavy hitters on both sides of the aisle coming to Montana.
The whole cabinet might make a pit stop. I mean, I think Republicans are going to want to keep this one Senate seat. The Republicans are going to want to keep that Senate seat for obvious reasons. Democrats are going to, or I guess Democrats and independents are going to want to keep it for obvious reasons, or keep, you know, the conversation open. So, I mean, I think, you can expect president. I think you can expect vice president. Marco Rubio's favorables are generally, the Secretary of State's favorables are generally very high. I'm sure you could maybe see Rubio come to town. We'll probably see people big in the law hemisphere come as well that have a name attached to the president that will come to support him. I mean, you're going to see a lot of people fly in and out of Montana. We're not a flyover state anymore, you guys. We're important. We are here. You can't ignore us.
And get ready for more political ads, even more like 2 hours ago.
And Ben, like, hey, guess what? We're going to talk a lot more. And my advice to everyone at home, if I can't,
please,
Ben,
please
take me full. Download the Nonstop Local app and enable push notifications, because guess what? When breaking news happens, Nonstop Local not only is first, but we own political. So why not hang out with the team that gets it first? Download our app, and every time anybody picks up a pen, I'll let you know about it.
How's your phone battery right now? Do we need to take a break and charge?
We're at 16%.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll let you go and get charged. Bradley Warren.
I do. The governor. I do have to take this. I'll let you go.
Yeah, you go.
Yeah.
That's Nonstop Local, folks. We just delivered about 13 minutes of major political news, and we got more coming your way. I had a chance to actually break the news to our political analyst, Lee Banville. Real implications on the balance of power in Washington, D.C. Bradley really kind of putting it in perspective. We're going to give you another voice right now. Lee is the director and the professor at the University of Montana Journalism School. He knows this state. He knows the political landscape of this state. So he and I sat down a couple minutes ago. Here's what he had to say. Okay, everyone, joined by Lee Banville, a director and professor at the University of Montana Journalism School. I had a fun opportunity to break some news to this guy. Of course, we've been talking about it all show. Montana Senior Senator Steve Daines not running for re-election in the state of Montana. Your initial reaction to that bombshell news?
Well, I mean, I had been boning up to be ready to talk about the Senate race and other things, and I was like checking out. Steve Daines an hour ago was tweeting about the status of the war in Iran. There was no real indication that this was the big bombshell was Seth Bodner announcing an independent run. And so, I mean, this is one of those moments that you're like, clearly there's something in the works. We don't know what it is yet, because this is such a significant shift, especially when the Senate balance of power is so tight, and every Senate race is critical to President Trump's agenda. That this is news that changes the whole dynamic of what's happening, not only in Montana but potentially nationwide.
And I think really this entire week here for Montana politics, it's really every single day has been bombshell after bombshell after bombshell. This Trump's, for lack of a better word, Trump.
No,
this is over all of it. This is an incredible moment in Montana political history.
I mean, it's what we're looking at is a moment where what seemed like it was going to be the most boring 6-month campaign.
Yes.
Where we had three incumbents if you count Troy Downing, who are just sort of like seem to be cruising towards re-election. There's some questions about, an independent run by Seth Bodnar, how does that change the equation? But by suddenly two of those figures, who have really been the leaders of the Republican Party for a decade, are suddenly leaving the field, or at least stepping back from the offices they're in right now.
Sure.
It just changes all of the political equations that I'm sure both parties, as well as Mr. Bodner's independent run, everybody is probably scrambling to figure out, okay, well, what happens next?
And I think it seems like if we kind of read the tea leaves, we're not going to speculate, at least at this moment tonight here on Nonstop Local.
Please don't make
me do
that right
we're
now.
not going to make you speculate as well. We don't know if the White House knows this. We don't know if the majority leader from South Dakota, John Thune, knows anything about this. And we did confirm that the Secretary of State, from the Secretary of State's office, that he's withdrawn. If you're a Republican tonight in the state of Montana, you're ready to go vote for Steve Daines, you're ready to go vote for Ryan Zinke, and let's just keep this thing going.
Yeah.
How are you feeling tonight as we are basically 3 months out from the primary?
Well, I think, the Zinke race kind of quickly coalesced into it's going to be a primary. Yeah. And there are some interesting candidates. There's slightly different takes of the Republican apple. So that one kind of sort of set. I think right now you're like, well, what's happening in the Senate race? Because, there were a handful of Democrats who have announced, none with huge name recognition, one former gubernatorial candidate, but really it seemed like a pretty quiet moment. My guess is you're waiting to hear what does it all mean from either Senator Daines or potentially the president,
sure,
or some Republican leader to kind of outline where things are headed next. And there do seem to be some late filings that might indicate that there are some candidates in the wings, but I would be very hesitant to jump on anything right this second.
We came in here today thinking we were going to talk about your former boss, Seth Bodnar.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you want to ask about that, I'm okay. Yeah.
Well, we'll throw one question in there.
Sure.
Your reaction to him officially, I mean, this is something we all probably speculated for the last month or two, but now that he officially entered the race today, again, now within the last hour or so, the race completely changing, but Seth Bodnar running for U.S. Senate.
So, it was interesting because, obviously today was the day of the rollout. So
right.
You saw the first official communication from the campaign. And it was a fairly striking communication in my mind, where it was the first minute of his 2.5 minute sort of social video could have been Tim Sheehy running for Senate.
Yeah.
It was very focused on his military career, very focused on his views about duty and honor and service.
His family.
Yeah, his family. And then the second half kind of pivots to public education and his connections to tribal leaders. So what you get is if you're a voter sitting there, you get a little bit of both, right? You get a little bit of what you would expect from a Republican campaign ad, and a little bit of what you expect from a Democratic campaign ad, including how many generations his wife is,
Sure.
5. I think that those things, it was interesting to see that messaging and to see him really trying to walk that line of being both.
Yeah.
And, to me, I was like, well, I did some homework, and, no independent has ever won statewide. But Ross Perot did quite well in the 90s as a presidential candidate. But other than that, it's really been generally in the 20s or teens for an independent. With the news coming out of the Secretary of State's office, that may be a whole different conversation today, because he's probably the candidate listed on the Secretary of State's page with the highest name recognition, which is one of the most important things.
Yeah.
And so, he might be starting off in a much stronger way than I was expecting when I saw his video at 6:30 this morning.
I guess we kind of get to live through history together as it evolves by the hour.
Yeah, I feel very nervous about this entire conversation because I feel like everything could be different by 10 o'clock tonight or certainly 9 a.m. tomorrow.
I appreciate your time, Lee Banville. We'll talk again soon.
Yeah, probably real soon.
Probably real soon, exactly. Okay, we're going to take a quick break here on Nonstop Local. Again, Steve Daines not running for re-election here in the state of Montana. A lot to go over. Appreciate you sticking with us. We're taking a quick break here on Nonstop Local. We'll be right back.